Yo, what's up, YouTube? Trader Main here. Did a little update. I posted the video in Telegram. I also did it on TikTok. I did it on Instagram, just being a little content whore. So hopefully you saw my update last night, but basically talked about, yeah, we're looking good. I'm bullish. You know, everyone's bullish. We get it. Everyone's so bullish. Everyone on the timeline is screaming about you not being nearly bullish enough, even though I'm sure many of you are bullish. And those same people that were telling you to be bullish, you're not bullish enough, have been telling you that nonstop over the last 7 months of sideways price action. But I digress. Things are still looking good in my opinion. However, this is kind of the last area where the bears can slam it if they're going to. I'm not saying they're going to slam it to new lows, but if they're going to reject it or if we're going to have any sort of sizable pullback, I do think it happens from here. This is still weekly resistance. I don't expect us to just put a big green candle through it. Could we? Sure. But to me, it seems unlikely. I think some kind of pullback is more likely. So I posted that yesterday when we were at 69,000 plus. And we got a little bit of a pullback today. And basically I said, hey, we've got a sweep here. I wouldn't be surprised if we run this low. And I really like this kind of playbook here. So if we're really bullish, to me, this type of price action, and it even looks similar, right? Sweep, pullback, run the low, tag demand, rip. This would be the same kind of regime that I'd want to see happen here. And lo and behold, after the daily close, we got the move below the low. Now, could that have been it? Like we front ran the demand. I did mention if we came here, I'd probably blindly bid with a stop down here, but we front ran the zone. So what does that mean? Well, we could still come down here tomorrow, right? Or overnight. That's still possible. Or that could be it, right? We do have a fair value gap here. So we did tap into a POI and ran the low. So that could be it. So if this is it, and that's as low as it's going to go, I'm looking for the H1 setup, right? So we've got the breaker here. If we MSB, I think you can probably take a long here with your stop down there. I much would have rather long down here or seen this happen lower, but it doesn't. You don't always get what you want. You don't always get what you want, right? So that's what I'm looking for if that was it. If it wasn't it and we're going to have some more potential downside, I'm still watching for something similar to the 59K move where we come down here, maybe we get another stab and then bounce. Doesn't have to play out exactly like this, but that would be ideal. Looking at the weekly, we do have a really nice level right here, which is confluent with that order block as well, kind of these old highs here. So this could come down lower, right? This could come into here, could even sweep below here and still be fine. As long, really, in my opinion, as we don't kind of hold below here for any significant period of time. So we can wick below there, right? That happens in crypto a lot. But as long as we don't hold below here, I think we look pretty good. If we start holding below here, then I start thinking, well, maybe this is a deviation. Maybe we're going to deviate back down to here. I don't know, right? So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and decide what to do because it did front run my level. So I didn't get any fills. I didn't just bid the run of the low. So that's kind of my plan for now on Bitcoin. Ethereum, it's very similar. Took out these two flat bottoms. I'm just sick and tired of Ethereum. Yeah, it's probably going to go up eventually, but there's just so many other coins that are just, don't look like this versus Bitcoin over the last 2.5 years that you can play. Solana had a very nice trade on there. So that was just basic H12, H1, right? H12 sweep, H1 market structure break, retest. There's your entry, stop there, ripped. If you had the breaker stop, played out even harder. We do have a spot discount right now, and we are into resistance. So I do think it makes sense to have some caution here because, again, if they're going to slam it, it happens from here. And if we break out, we're going so much higher anyways. It doesn't matter, if you're a little cautious right here. It's okay. I know people are telling you to, fucking throw all caution to the wind. It's up only and we're so bearish. Anything can happen, right? Like those people could end up being wrong. And then they're going to look fucking stupid for speaking so, authoritatively about one direction or the other. just be open to any possibility. I am bullish. Let me make that very clear. I think we trade much higher, but we have the election coming up in like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks. We are into resistance here. So if there's going to be some fuckery and a potential correction, it happens from this area, in my opinion. So just some things to watch. We did have an H12 MSB here after the sweep, so we could come up and tag this breaker and then roll over lower. I don't really know yet. If we do trade lower, the next area of interest for me to watch is down here around 63K. It could be an instance right now where everyone bids the first dip we get here, and then we get a more significant dip, and then it goes up. Really, anything can happen here, but I'm looking for places to get long more so than I'm looking for reasons to be short. And all of the reasons that I'm potentially even taking shorts are all very low time frame trading decisions. From a high time frame and a spot portfolio perspective and a swing trading perspective, I'm still very much bullish, thinking we trade much higher. And if we do get some discounts, I simply will use those as opportunities to get more long, buy more spot, take some swing longs, maybe buy some altcoins, things like that. Now, the way that I would be playing these types of moves, if you don't want to just trade Bitcoin, I'm pretty boring. I'm a boomer. I trade a lot of Bitcoin because it's an asset I feel like I'm pretty dialed on. I get it. I have a strategy that performs well with it, but there's definitely altcoins that will pull back harder and will pump harder than Bitcoin, right? So if you want to play those altcoins, a really good example right now is like Doge. Doge has been unbelievably strong. So if you want to play something like Doge or like Popcat, things of that nature, what you want to do is still analyze Bitcoin and say, okay, if I think Bitcoin is going to do, this and then this, well, when Bitcoin is here, instead of longing Bitcoin, go look at those altcoins and see if they are also at an area of support. Because if they are, and you think Bitcoin's going to go up and you end up being right, there's a good chance that altcoin you have might outperform Bitcoin to the upside. Not all of them. Obviously, Bitcoin dominance is still trending up, but there's absolutely been several, if not dozens or more, altcoins that have been just reacting and moving and being higher beta in general to Bitcoin. So that's my strategy for how I play alts. I don't play them as much as I probably should, just based on how things have been going. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to long Bitcoin for a 5% move, I want to long the thing that goes up 25%, great. Analyze Bitcoin, form a bias, and then if your Bitcoin trade idea is going to work out, good chance your altcoin is putting in some sort of bullish setup as well. Obviously, you can compare that altcoin versus BTC to make sure you're making the right decision. You look at something like Doge BTC and you say, okay, well, it makes sense to try and long Doge on a pullback because Doge BTC is going up. If you look at something like with BTC, yeah, it's into some support right now, but it's pulled back a little bit. And you can see that where Bitcoin has been making new highs and WIF is actually trading lower than it was when Bitcoin was at a lower price. So when Bitcoin was trading here, right, just a week ago, WIF was trading 50 cents higher than it is right now. So there's going to be some weakness. You're not always going to outperform, but that's what I would do if you want to play these altcoins, try and catch these biggest gainers of the day, check it versus Bitcoin, check it versus ETH, check it versus Sol, and then form a bias on those three base pairs, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. And when they get to their demand or their support that you're looking to long, go long that altcoin instead if the stars are aligning. So that's what I'm watching. We've obviously had the dollar continue to rampage. Now, if you're a crypto bull, I think effectively you want to see the dollar put in a lower high here. That would be the best case scenario. And I posted the dollar chart today and same comments I get every time. The dollar went up and Bitcoin still went up. The dollar sometimes go down and Bitcoin goes down. The correlation is not always one-to-one. Okay, I've said that so many times, but more often than not, there is a correlation between these two. It's not always as simple as one-to-one, but generally when Bitcoin is super bullish and uptrending, the dollar is in a downtrend. Not all the time, not every time, but where did the bear market end? Right here. So there is a correlation. To say there isn't one is stupid. But just because the dollar went up and Bitcoin also went up doesn't negate the fact that the correlation exists because it's not in sync this very moment, right? So couple things to watch there. Obviously, looking at equities, I still don't see a reason to be bearish here. I mean, can we get a bit of a pullback? Absolutely. Maybe it's time to come back and give us a weekly retest of here or something like that. That could be confluent with Bitcoin pulling back. But overall, I still think you should be a bull. I'm still a bull, very much on the high time frame. So I don't get flamed. I don't even bother posting anything remotely bearish on Twitter anymore because it's just not worth it. God forbid you have an opinion that goes against someone's bias. They'll fucking lose their goddamn mind. People on Twitter's conviction is so weak that if you post an idea opposite to theirs, they freak the fuck out. And it's like they're having a fucking mental breakdown because you think things might not go in the direction that best benefits their bags. I know obviously some people do it in like a memeing way, like Axe and stuff. Like he's funny, but a lot of people are like dead fucking serious when they're like upset. If you, God forbid, it's like, well, take the other side of the trade then. Like if something's going to go down, you think it's going to go up, be long, right? Like why do you need to bitch about it on Twitter? Just be the opposite side of the trade in the market and take that person's money. That's the best fucking revenge, right? But anyway, so that's kind of the plan here. I'll probably do a live stream tomorrow once we see how the Monday's trading is now done. We've got Monday's range. We'll see how things look when I wake up in the morning because my ideal entry here, the one that I was going to pull trigger on, got front run. So I'm not going to chase. I'll either wait and see if we come back down and I get another chance, or I'll take the H1 setup potentially that's forming here. But yeah, keep an eye on those altcoins, right? Like Solana's been super strong. You can already see this is looking like a potential real strong bounce off of the pullback here. So if that was it, right, and Bitcoin ran that low, well, you can already see Solana came into this fair value gap here, right? And if that was the low on Bitcoin, Solana is going to pump way harder than Bitcoin. You can just tell looking at the chart. So that can be how you use those two things together, right? So real quick video. I know it's not a stream. I think I'll most likely go over things in more depth tomorrow in a live stream. I know I keep talking about the live trading videos. I do want to get one of those out hopefully this week. I've just been busy. Stuff happens. But yeah, keep you guys in the loop. I am doing these short little updates on TikTok and Instagram and shit. So make sure you're following @TraderMain on those two platforms so you can kind of get those play-by-plays in between the longer videos. All right, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.